In business news, it's choppy times for oil prices after suspected attacks on two tankers in one of the world's busiest oil routes. Prices have stabilized somewhat after yesterday's surge, but the concern is that an all-out conflict in the region would send prices soaring again. Now have a look at how they are standing right now. Brent and light crude benchmarks, they rallied as much as 4.5% today. Brent is still in positive territory, though, looking just about 0.2% up at 61.45. Meanwhile, you've got the U.S. benchmark West Texas Intermediate, also known as WTI crude. That one is down 52.17, just under 0.2% there. Now, oil prices have been in the red since April, when trade tensions between China and the United States escalated. WTI prices have been in a decline since, down some 34%. Now, the vessels attacked were owned by companies in Taiwan and Japan. Both sides say their domestic energy supplies will not be affected. Japan's industry minister says that the attack will be discussed at the G20 ministerial meeting this weekend.
供給に万全を期するため、事務方に対して関連するエネルギー企業などへの注意喚起を行うとともに、関係省庁と協力して情報収集に全力で取り組むよう指示をしているところであります。今回の事案によってですね、日本のエネルギー安定供給に問題が生じることはないと認識をしておりますけれども。
The incident has boosted oil-linked stocks across Asia. In Japan, shares in energy firm Inpex Corp, they added 1.32%. Meanwhile, Japan Petroleum Exploration Co. gained 1.5%, while Idemitsu Kosan surging 2% today. Vandana Hari is the founder and CEO of Vanda Insights. She's an expert on the energy markets with a focus on oil and Asia. Vandana, good evening. How serious are the current tensions in your view?
Look, any escalation of tensions in the Middle East region, which is a major supplier of oil to the world, does create a lot of headache, of course, for the oil market, and it does inject a fair amount of fear premium, as we call it, in the oil prices. As you were alluding to earlier, the spike in prices yesterday basically is the market factoring in potential disruption of supplies from the region. So we're looking at 5 countries in that region: Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, UAE, and Oman. Together supply about 21 million barrels per day. And that's nearly a fifth of global oil demand. So if there's any prospect of disruption in the shipments from the Strait of Hormuz area, the Persian Gulf, the Gulf of Oman, then clearly that's a cause of worry for the oil market.
Vandana, do you think that there is any risk of a long-term impact on oil prices if these tensions continue, though?
So right now, if you are an oil market participant or a stakeholder in any way exposed to oil prices, the twin dualities, if you will, that you're looking at, on the one hand, we have these geopolitical tensions, which are unlikely to go away because we know the U.S. has very stringent sanctions against Iran. It's been ratcheting up these sanctions. From oil, it has gone to sanctioning petrochemicals and metals as well. And it's a proper standoff. The Iranians have only become more and more adamant and infuriated. So those tensions are not going to go away. But on the other hand, the oil market is also looking at the prospects of oil demand growth this year, which aren't looking too good. In fact, just a few hours ago, we had the International Energy Agency, a very respected forecaster, reduce its outlook for global oil demand growth this year. And overall, we've seen OPEC and the US EIA do the same earlier this week. And as a result, you see an incident like yesterday's coming a month after similar attacks just a month ago would have actually led to a much bigger spike in oil prices. But we see today crude sitting at very close to the 5-month lows that were touched last week. And the main reason for it is that there's a lot of concerns over global oil demand growth now as a result of the trade wars. And just generally macroeconomic data from around the world has been weakening.
Vandana, put into context for our viewers, if you will, the importance of the Strait of Hormuz to the oil industry.
Yes, so we are talking about this relatively narrow waterway. It's commonly described as a choke point, which connects the Persian Gulf with the Gulf of Oman, which goes into the Arabian Sea. Now, this is the waterway that is very close to Iran, and one that is being very closely watched because Iran, time and again, whenever it has been rattled, it has threatened to block shipments to the Strait of Hormuz. A very important thing to keep in mind, though, however, is that it has never actually carried out those threats. There were a lot of tanker attacks in the late 1980s, but that was during the Iran-Iraq war. More than 450 tankers were attacked in that region. But right now, it's basically a threat. The oil market needs to keep an eye on it, but it doesn't expect Iran actually to start attacking or to actually block the movements, because it will be basically making enemies with everybody else in the region as well. It would be a call out for war, essentially, and I don't personally believe that that's what Iran is looking for.
All right, Vandana, thank you very much for that perspective. I've been speaking there to Vandana Hari, founder and CEO of Vanda Insights.